Hey.
Can you detail what the plans are for Lourdes and Santiago, kind of what they're going to be able to do and kind of what you're hoping to see from them?
More of the same than what they did yesterday. Getting out there, running the bases. They saw live pitching yesterday, so that was a nice box to check. And for Lourdes especially, I think more of the same today, just from a running standpoint with his injury being the hamstring. So seeing how we come at it today, and hopefully it's all good news and make a decision after that.
John, the moment is at hand. What does this feel like for you?
This is something that I've been looking forward to for my entire adult life. Excited, can't put one word on it. Humbled, happy to do it with the group of players that I'm familiar with, to do it with the staff that I'm familiar with, and front office is something I do not take lightly, and just thrilled that we're able to do it in front of our home fans. Just looking forward to a really fun weekend.
Go to Raph.
Hey, John, we talked a lot about the home field advantage. I think you may remember 2016, 2015.
Oh, yeah.
Can you define what home field advantage feels like from a player's or manager's point of view and not just from a television or fans' perspective?
Yeah, I think it adds a layer of comfort. You're staying in your own bed and you have your own environment and clubhouse and people that you're familiar with. So you put that on top of a full house of Blue Jay fans. It makes it very exciting, and I think the atmosphere in this building in the postseason speaks for itself, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Hey, John. What can you say about the growth of Alek Manoah from the first time you met him to getting this Game 1 start?
Feels like he's been ready for this moment since he signed. Meeting him when he first got drafted, when he came up here, but this season in general, reaching new highs in workload, innings, all that kind of stuff. You really can't say enough about the season that he's had and the month of September that he's had. So lives for moments like this and embraces everything that comes with it, but I think still keeps the task at hand in the forefront. So we're excited for him to get us going tomorrow night.
John, one of the lasting images that I think the fans have was Vladdy on the final day of 2021 staring with everybody else at Rogers Center watching the Red Sox and the Nationals, and just looking absolutely gutted, missing the postseason by a game. What was your lingering feeling, and how long did that take to get over, and then move towards the motivation for 2022?
It took a while last year. We were playing really well, and I think that we were very confident if we did get in. And you get so invested in the prep and the work and the people. It took a while, and one game kind of was the phrase that we brought right into spring training. Mentioned it yesterday to the guys, how we were one game better than we were last year in the regular season, which is a good step. But I think it just kind of brought attention to the little things that are important that we've really tried to harp on, especially in the second half. So I think going through those experiences are good and bad. They can serve as tough reminders while you're going through the next season, as it did this year. And, hopefully everyone kind of, you don't want to dwell on it, but I think it is definitely a motivating factor from this point on.
John, when you guys made the playoffs in 2020, it was entirely different, and it felt, to us anyway, maybe to you guys too, like it was almost over in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
What do you think the group takes from that to use now, or is this playoffs just so entirely different than that was?
Yeah, that year was tough. It was definitely unique, and I think this year is different, playing here and playing in front of our fans and fans in general. It did seem to go fast. So I think from that, the message is going to be abundantly clear to the guys, as it has been all year, where you're trying to win a series, and you don't want to get caught up in one game. Obviously, every game, every out, every pitch is important, but the goal is to win a series, and that's been what we've been trying to accomplish, and nothing changes now in a condensed 3-game series.
And how much are you looking forward to this group that grew up with you and that you saw then in 2020? Actually, home fans is one thing, but just playing in front of fans, period, in the playoffs. which they haven't gotten to do yet.
Thrilled for them. You know, this is why you spend hours on end in the backfields down in Dunedin working on specific things to hopefully bring them to life in situations like this. So for that young group that is here now, that have been through our system, that has been here for a couple years, I'm thrilled for them. They are tremendously excited, tremendously prepared, and tremendously confident going into it. And you know, I'm just excited to be here with them, doing the things we've talked about so many times a lot of years ago.
Hey John, how far along the road are you in deciding a Game 2 starter, and what factors are going into your decisions for Game 2 and a possible Game 3?
We're getting there. We're about halfway down that road, maybe. So I think factors that go in are going to be, you know, matchups. You know, the fact that we have a lot of flexibility and depth is a great thing. We've talked through a couple different scenarios going forward, and we'll continue to work through that, you know, today, later tonight, tomorrow, and make a decision, you know, when we feels best.
Hey, John. What do you tell your players who are playing in front of 55,000 crazy Jays fans for the first time, and how do you calm their nerves?
Tell them to enjoy it. You know, I think it's great to have veteran guys like George and Chappie, Jackie Bradley Jr. that have been there and done that. And, you know, you enjoy the moment, but you also remember on what you're trying to do. So, I mean, everyone's going to have a little bit extra emotion in all these games. And I think that if you can focus on, you know, playing the type of game that you want to play and not get too high, especially early on in the first game tomorrow, things will fall into place. So it's enjoy the moment, slow it down, and understand that they're a really talented group, and go play your game.
Hey, John, speaking of that, kind of, how much do you think the group's going to lean on Springer, Chapman, Jackie Bradley Jr.? I think Jimmy has some appearances in the postseason during this run.
Yeah, they've been talking about it for a while now. And, you know, conversation after yesterday's game in Baltimore was great as a group. And, you know, it's been kind of high leverage games for a while now. So these guys have been having these conversations for a couple weeks. So I think it's going to be more of the same. It is, you know, invaluable to have guys that have been at the biggest, on the biggest stage, highest stakes in World Series games, and I think it's invaluable to have their opinions, their input, their feelings, and guys have been doing that for a couple of weeks, which is awesome.
John, you value chemistry and clubhouse attitude, and for Whit Merrifield, who came in mid-season, it's a tough adjustment for a new guy to come into a new team. How did he adjust, and what impressed you about the way that he fit into the fabric of this team?
He was great. It took him a couple days to kind of get his footing with personalities, but track record speaks for itself, and I think guys immediately respected him because of what he's done in his career. Going through a time where he wasn't playing regularly, can't say enough about the teammate he was, how professional he was with his work, questions that he asked, and things like that. I got all the respect in the world for him, and I think that good things happen to good people, and for him to be on a nice little roll right now, I think playing these types of games for the first time in a while for him, it feels pretty good.
He's played the third most games without appearing in a postseason game, but now you've watched him over the last 3 weeks. What does his skill set mean to you to have to be able to lean on in these types of games?
He's calm. He's collected. Kind of a quiet leader in the clubhouse, and versatility that he brings, what he brings on the bases. You saw it in Baltimore, just kind of creating a run with a bunt, a dirt ball read. You look at him scoring from third on contact, just some of the things that he's really good at, I think, rubs off on other guys. So his skill set kind of brings attention to little details that we've been harping on all year when it comes to being focused, being prepared, and kind of anticipating plays. So what he brings, I think, is a tremendous compliment to what we already had here.
Hey, John, when you look at this postseason, what do you think your team's capable of?
A lot. I mean, I think that, you know, it's a very talented group. It's a really cool mix of young guys and veteran guys, both on the position player side and the pitching side. And the expectation for us is to continue to win. This is, you know, the goal that we had set out in spring training. And myself, the staff, and every player in the clubhouse has all the confidence in the world in us being the last team standing.
Hey, John. Along the lines of Rob's question with the starting rotation, do you guys need to lock something in for games 2 and 3, or could you stay flexible and make your plan depending on how game 1 unfolds?
We could do either one. I think, still working through that process, whether that decision comes after tomorrow's game or whether it comes before tomorrow's game. We could do either one. So, again, it is nice to have a lot of different options. And, you just try to get to the best choice that you can whenever you have all the information.
And, managing 162 is obviously a different challenge than managing 3 games. Do you anticipate managing differently from a tactical standpoint? And if so, what would that look like?
I don't want to give away any secrets, but no, I don't think so. I think, our team, the overarching theme has been trying to find incremental advantages, right? So whether it's on the offensive or defensive or pitching side, we're going to continue to do that. But at the same time, trust the, unbelievable amount of talent that we have on our roster too. So I think getting here, we've used a lot of different people on our 40-man roster, and that's a credit to our depth. But right now, it's, you want to put players in positions to have success, and you count on those guys coming up in big moments. So if there is a spot to where we can have a little bit of an advantage, we're going to take it. And games kind of just, you watch the flow of the game and you kind of see how you may need to do a little bit more or a little bit less of one thing or another. So it's going to be kind of the brand we've been playing.
The last time you were in the playoffs, brief as it may have been, Bo had a particularly rough go at shortstop. How much better a shortstop today is he than he was then?
A lot. I mean, Bo makes strides every day that probably go unnoticed to everybody. I think, his growth as a player from, since I've met him to where he is now, let alone in 2020 to where he is now, has been amazing. We have full trust in Bo. I think his game right now is about as tight as it's been since I've known him. And, we're just looking for him to kind of, anchor our team like he has been all year.
Go to Julia.
Hey, John, you spoke about veteran guys being a good influence and an important one in that clubhouse. Hyun-jin Ryu is obviously hurt, but he has been around, and it's been well documented that he and Manoah are close. How do you expect that partnership to help Manoah here for Game 1 and beyond in October?
Yeah, he's been awesome, although he's been hurt, being around as much as he can. He came on the road trip with us, which is great. Him and Alex's relationship, well documented, like you said. Having guys like him for young guys to lean on has been great, whether it's Ryu or whether it's Gauze or Barrios or Strip. I think it's a great mix for a guy like Alec. But we like having him around. He brings an added sense of humor and confidence and experience. And, guys definitely, use that to their advantage.
And then the matchup with Luis Castillo is, I think, intriguing for everyone, not just fans, but also the team. How do you sort of assess that pitching matchup?
He's good. At this point, everyone's good, right? Every pitcher is good in the postseason, and I think that, you look at what we've done against him in the past or what he's done since he's gotten to Seattle, if there's any changes in pitch mix or how he's trying to approach certain types of hitters. A lot of information gets thrown out to players, but at the same time, you have to play into our own strengths too. So it's not trying to do anything different than what you've done to get you to this point. And, you really have to lock into tendencies to everything when you get to this point of the year when you're facing a guy like him. So again, all the confidence in the world in our lineup, and it's going to be a fun matchup.
John, first year for the best of 3 wildcard format. Do you have a preference between the 1 game, the 3, and why?
Definitely the 3. Baseball's tough, and at this time of year, or over the course of 162, anything can happen on any given night. And to have it in a 1-game vacuum is a little bit weird. So I think, again, it kind of goes right into what we've been saying all year. You're trying to win a series. And, I think the overall depth of your team, the talent of your team, it's a lot easier to show that over the course of a 3-game series as opposed to a 1. So it makes decisions a little bit more consistent. It makes play a little bit more slow, if you will, as opposed to playing with your hair on fire in 1 game. So the 3-game set, I think, is pretty good.
Take our last one here from Mike.
John, obviously things are different now. Luis Castillo wasn't a Mariner the last time you played them. You weren't the manager the last time you play them. But do you look back at those 4 games in Seattle and take anything from the way they bullpenned you and the timely homers that won them games? Or do you look more at like the couple of little fluky things that happened in the losses?
I think you look at everything. I think you look at where we were as a club. You look at where they were as a club right now, and you can kind of take some things from it and leave some things from it. You know, I think we're a totally different team than we were then, and I think, you know, they're different in their own regard too. So everything that you've been through, you want to learn from, you want to get better from, and the fluky things you talked about were very fluky. But right now, this is, I think everyone is just singularly focused on the task at hand, not what happened earlier in the year, and we feel good about where we are right now.
All right, thanks everyone. We'll be back with Alec Manoah.
Thank you, guys.